Welcome to the Caregiver Relief Podcast. I'm your host, Diane Carbo, a registered nurse. This episode is sponsored by myvitalvault.net, your all-in-one life organizer for aging adults and caregivers. It's designed to help you securely store your essential legal, medical, and emergency information in one easy-to-access place. Because when a crisis hits, being prepared can make all the difference. Join our Caregiver Relief community, a warm, welcoming space where you can connect with other caregivers, ask questions, share stories, and find support from people who truly understand. Visit community.caregiverrelief.com to join now, because caregiving is one of the hardest and most meaningful things you'll ever do, and no one should have to do it alone. And if this episode speaks to you, please take a moment to like, share, or comment. Every click helps us reach more caregivers who need encouragement, resources, and hope. Today, we're exploring an innovative, science-based approach to healing caregiver stress with my guest, Cedric Bertelli, founder of the Emotional Health Institute and co-developer of Emotional Resolution, which is trademark, and it's also known as EmRes, capital E-M-Res, R-E-S. Cedric has spent over 15 years studying the neurophysiology of emotion and the body's innate capacity to heal. His work helps caregivers, healthcare workers, educators, and high performers worldwide dissolve emotional pain without having to relive trauma or dig into the past. So if you ever wondered why stress and emotional triggers keep coming back no matter how much you try to manage them, this conversation will open your eyes to a wonderful new way forward. Cedric, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. I really appreciate what you do, and I'm very excited to get started here.
Diane, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Before we dive in, can you share a little bit about what drew you to this work and why helping people resolve emotional pain became your passion?
I think it's a twofold thing. I think, first of all, I was dealing up until my late 20s with a lot of anxieties and depression, self-directed anger. So I always was looking for ways to better myself and feel better. And so I went through psychotherapy, did a lot of things by the book, so to speak. And what I noticed is that I learned to control how I feel. I learned to hide how it feels. But inside, the turmoil stayed the same. And actually, I also noticed that the more I try to hide it, the more energy it takes me to be my daily life. So that was the first thing, a personal quest. And also noticing I was late 20s, I was a director of restaurants for the Ritz-Carlton Hotel Company. So I had a very large team, and I could see how emotions are leading the workplace. You don't manage people in a way, you manage them and their emotions.
Yes.
And if you find a way to help people thrive, if you find a way to give them tasks, match with coworkers that bring joy into them, of course, they will be happy to come to work and they will give their very best. And so emotions always fascinated me, and how much they play a role in our life dynamics toward ourselves and toward others. That's not the first part. That's the first leg of my decision in going into this field. The second one was a really deep admiration for my grandfather. His name is Riccardo Bertelli, and he was a World War II veteran. He was fighting in the maquis, that's what we call it in French, which is people hiding in the forest, listening for messages on radio, yes, and then doing special operations. And I grew up very close to him, and I was able to see how him and other men of his generations, I don't know so much about women because I wasn't so much around them, but him and other men of his generation, their capacity for resilience. So of course it was PTSD and CPTSD for these men as well, no doubt. But I was always fascinated how him specifically was a bit like a Buddhist monk. He was very, very quiet. He was never trying to be somebody else that he wasn't. He was a simple man, but he was who he was. He passed away a couple of years ago. He was 101 years old.
God bless him.
Yeah. And in my mind, it's like how him and a lot of men that I could see of his age in his surrounding were able to tap into this natural resilience because they didn't go to psychotherapy, they didn't go to vet hospital, they didn't go to Tony Robbins workshop or any of this, right? Yeah. And as I continue my own path, I came to I say maybe find that what helped them to be that resilience was several things. First of all, after World War II, they worked in nature. So my grandfather went and worked in the woods, and he worked in the wood with all the men that had a similar history. They never talked about the war, but they were sharing a similar history, untalked about, but being together in the wood with a purpose, the purpose of feeding their family, the purpose of creating a better future for their kids and grandkids. And I think this trilogy, so to speak, being in nature with a community that understands deeply without even having to name it what you went through, and a strong drive on making life better for you, but for your family, was really what kicked in this incredible potential for resilience in them. And that made me understand that we all have this potential within us. And it doesn't take anything external, so to speak. So my obsession in a way at the beginning of getting into this field, into my career in this field, was how can we kick in this natural potential for resilience in every single human being?
I'm really excited about hearing about this. I'm going to share a little bit of information with you on the typical family caregiver. The statistics for the family caregiver are very grim. 63% of them become seriously ill or die before the person they're caring for. That's astonishing to me. And it's going to be worse as our healthcare delivery system is pushing more of the burden of providing care once provided by healthcare professionals onto the family caregiver. And many of them don't have the financial well-being to go to therapy and work for it. And of course, when they're providing care, all the old dynamics of family. I'm the bossy older sister. There's the middle child. That's the invisible child. And they all take on those roles again. So it can be very ugly. So I'm really excited to learn about this new concept. Can you explain exactly what is emotional resolution and how does it work?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be happy to. Emotional resolution is based on how the brain constructs emotion. And from this understanding, how the brain can deconstruct debilitating emotional patterns. So few things, can I go into details with you so you guys understand?
Yes.
Yeah. Few things we need to understand about the brain when it comes to emotions. A big part of my job is to demystify emotion, right? To make them much more pragmatic. Because when it comes to emotion, we're all the same in a way. We all have different stories, different personalities, but the way that the brain constructs emotion is the same in you, in me, in everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So a few things to keep in mind when it comes to emotion. Number one, it is that our brain constantly predicts. Our brain constantly predicts based on past experiences. And it's about anything. For example, with food, right? Before you had, let's say, one bite of Granny Smith's apple in your life, 2 weeks, 5 weeks, 10 years from that first experience, before, if you have a Granny Smith's apple in your hand, before you bite this apple, your brain is going to predict what experience you're about to have.
Yeah. Yes.
So constantly predicting, that's what keeps us ahead of the game. So that's the first thing we want to remember. The brain constantly predicts based on past experience. Now, we have to know that up until from when we were born until the day we die, the brain constantly updates predictions. This is called learning. So we update prediction. This is how we learn. So I'll give you an example. Let's say there is a new ice cream shop opening down the street. And I go down to get an ice cream, and there's like batches, right? There's a batch of pink ice cream, white ice cream, brown ice cream. And there's no name because they just opened, so there's no label.
Okay.
And I love strawberry ice cream, so I see the pink batch. I'm going to say, oh, I like some of this pink ice cream. And they say, oh yeah, give me a scoop. And I go out, I put the tiny spoon in my mouth. And as soon as I taste the ice cream, I realize it's smoked salmon ice cream. And so it tastes awful, right? But it's not a trauma or anything, but it just tastes awful. Now, how much little spoon of ice cream do you think I need to remember forever that in this store, the pink batch is smoked salmon ice cream? One taste.
But
one taste, 1 second, and I know forever that in this store, the pink batch is smoked salmon ice cream. So my prediction has been updated in 1 second. I'm saying that now it's important because we think it takes forever to resolve emotional difficulties. No.
Yes.
It takes a matter of seconds to update prediction, because you'll see that debilitating emotional patterns are nothing else but outdated prediction from the brain.
Okay.
So here I want to make a point is like this experience when I tasted the smoked salmon ice cream informed me about this store, but it informed my entire life. Because now I know that if I go in a store and there's no label, before deciding to buy it, I will ask, because I will learn from this experience.
Yes.
So this one update updated my life in a greater way. Forever, I will learn from this. This is when prediction update properly. And that happens all our life.
Yes.
Okay, let's put this aside. Something else that we need to realize is what you and I we're aware of right now is about 2,000 bits of information processed at a speed of 150 miles per hour. Consciously, that's what you're aware and I'm aware of. At the same time, our subconscious has a potential to gather 400 billion bits of information processed at the speed of 150,000 miles per hour. So it's absolutely huge. Your prefrontal cortex, my prefrontal cortex, is used as a filter. So we're not bombarded by all this information. So we have this conversation. For example, we have a job, etc. We live in society. Now, and what we understand is that at the origin of any debilitating pattern, anything, right? Anger, it doesn't matter. At the origin is always an instant of trauma. In order for us to have an emotion that keeps on coming back, at the origin is an instant of trauma. What is a trauma? A trauma is an instant that holds too much stress, physical or emotional, for us to take on when we live it. So if you're 2 months old or 2 years old, something might feel too stressful for you to take on, when today, as an adult, it's nothing. So a trauma, it's really depending on who we are, when we experience it, what is our surrounding at the time that we experience it. But all it is an instant that holds too much stress for us to take on when we experience it. That's it. Now, what creates the pattern is not the trauma. What creates the pattern is the instant, plural, instant of dissociation happening during the trauma. So, for example, let's say that I was a beaten child and my dad was beating me up. If I take a beater from my dad for, let's say, 2 minutes, chances are I'm not going to dissociate only once. I'm going to go in and out. If I'm a neglected child and I'm neglected and no one care for me, they care for my siblings, but not for me. This amount of stress, I keep on going back every single day. I will dissociate several times a day, in and out, when it's too much for me. When I need the love, when I need the attention. That's also a trauma in my book. Neglect is a trauma. I call that a white trauma. Yeah? And it's not the trauma, it is the instant of dissociation. Why? Because when we dissociate, it's a normal process that happens so we don't suffer too much.
Yes.
During this moment. It's normal. However, during this dissociation process, the prefrontal cortex shut down. So you don't suffer too much during this instant. And when the prefrontal cortex shut down, your subconscious takes over. And now your subconscious is like this huge whirlpool opening up and gathering all the information happening around you. Very sensorial, what you smell, the temperature in the room, the situation as a whole. So your subconscious is taking all this information of what's happening during this instant of dissociation, as well as the physical sensations happening in your body during this instant of dissociation.
Yes.
But not in a linear or logical way. It gathers all this information in a chaotic way, just like a whirlpool, like a tornado, gathering all this information. And then when the dissociation stops, you're back to conscious, right? But here is a key. So we live those trauma, those instant of dissociation in our life, a lot of them, from the moment we conceived until we pass away, a lot of them. What is happening is, so we live those trauma, and later on, when we live our life, 2 months, 6 months, 10 years after, when the brain recognizes one or several elements that were present in one of our past trauma, When the brain finds itself in a situation where it recognizes one or several elements present in a past trauma, the brain is going to instantly predict what physical sensations you're about to feel based on what was felt during the specific trauma. Now, most of the time, what you're experiencing today have nothing to see with what you experienced during the trauma. Absolutely no relationship. So you might make up a story, right? Well, I'm feeling this way because we make up story constantly. That's human beings. But the fact in the matter is it's completely subconscious. There's a stimulus. Maybe it's a smell. Maybe it's a situational, I don't know. There is a stimulus. And from this stimulus, the brain, if you assimilate the stimulus to a past trauma, is going to predict instantly what physical sensation you're about to feel. Now, how do we know that we feel an emotion? Go ahead.
How do we feel? Because we feel it. And I will tell you, I can relate to what you're saying, Cedric, because my dad yelled at us. I'm an adult child of an alcoholic, and my dad was brutal to, especially my brothers. I was the only baby that lived for many miscarriages and births, so I was a wanted child. We all were wanted, but my dad, he just brutalized us verbally and with my brothers physically when we did something wrong or we didn't meet his expectations. To this day, and I'm 72 years old, if a husband or a brother or a son starts getting angry with me, I instantly want to retreat.
Voilà. Okay. Oh, wait for me here. This feeling that you want to retreat, you feel it in your body, right?
Yeah.
This is a physical sensation. It's called interoception.
Okay.
So when you feel that, it's those physical sensations, it is called interoception. This interoception is an interoceptive prediction. That means that your body is expecting for you to feel those sensations right now.
Yes.
Now, this is what we discovered in a way. I don't know if we discovered it, but this is what we put into evidence, into light. It is that when you're able to let those sensations play out in your body without any type of control from yourself, that means no breath, not talking yourself out of the emotion. When you're able to feel those physical sensations as they change in your body without any type of control in a safe environment, at the end of the sensations moving in your body, your brain is expecting for you to be hit by some kind of danger. Yeah. At the end of this interoceptive prediction that will last between 2 and 90 seconds, never more. At the end of this interoceptive prediction where you do not control it, your brain realizes that today in your life you're safe and sound. From that very instant, whatever stimulus was creating this emotion in your life today will have no impact on you ever again. You just updated your prediction. It is not magical. It is not mystical. It is neurobiological. The problem is we never do it. Because as you said, you feel those tension when somebody is getting upset. And what do? You control. Either way you go hide, or you numb yourself, or you try to please the other one. Not only you, but we all do that, right?
Absolutely.
We all do that. But we never take the time to feel those physical sensations that are just a ghost from the past in a way. We feel the sensations and they're real, but it's only a prediction. It is what your brain is expecting to feel at the end of the prediction, just like the apple. You predict how it's going to taste and then you eat it. But you already know how it's going to taste like. It's a prediction.
Yes.
Just like the ice cream. So what emotional resolution is, it's a long answer, I apologize. But emotional resolution is a method that allows to retrigger very specifically an emotion. Based on how you feel today, we never talk about a trauma. We don't want to know about the trauma. That's not our job. Right. What is the problem today? Today, when people get upset at me, I retrieve, I hide. Okay, that's what's going on today. That's what interests me. Now we're gonna get your brain to recreate this emotion very specifically. And once the physical sensations are in your body, our job, you and me, is gonna be for you to feel those physical sensations without impacting them whatsoever. Those physical sensations are gonna last between 2 and 90 seconds. And at the end, you're gonna feel calm. You will never feel this emotion again.
How does the body even know how to release that emotional pain?
It doesn't release it. It replays it completely to the end. And so it's a memory. It's a memory.
Okay.
It's just like we have two kinds of memory, right? We have the cognitive memory, which is, for example, if I ask you, what did you eat last night?
Yes.
You're going to have to go in your mind, retrieve the data, and it takes energy to do that. Last night, chickpeas, and okay, it took you an effort. And then you have the sensorial memory,
Yes.
which is a memory that is imposed upon you. You feel like your brother is getting upset and poof, you feel those sensations in your body. You didn't go and get it. It was imposed upon you.
Yes.
It's just a memory.
Yes.
A sensorial, a physical, I could say an interoceptive memory. And when the memory plays out until the end and your brain realizes that at the end of the memory, you are actually safe and sound because no one is going to hurt you. That's it. Your sensorial memory will be updated.
So for caregivers, they feel overwhelmed daily. How can EmRes be applied in a moment of stress?
This is a beautiful question. First of all, I want to acknowledge for caregiver, it is a non-stop work. There's no break, right? I realize that. I lived it. It's non-stop. And it's like a hungry ghost. It never stops. And when it actually stops because the person sleeps, there's always worries, anxieties. And then maybe there is resentment. And maybe there is shame. But it's never stopping, or rarely does it.
Yes.
Tell me if I'm wrong, but that's how I see it play out. So it's important for caregiver to take it one step at a time. It's important to look how my current situation, caring for the person I'm caring for, is impacting my life personally. What are the emotions that make me overwhelmed? What is it? Is it fear of losing that person? Is it fear that I'm wasting my life? Wasting, right, quote unquote. Is it all the anger that I feel from my siblings and the misunderstanding? They think that I don't do a proper job when I do my very best and they're not even helping. So the overwhelm is a cake. Now, you cannot eat the cake. You got to cut it in pieces. You have to look at the situation. What are the emotions that makes me feel overwhelmed? And then we're going to resolve it one emotion after an emotion. After emotion. Because if not, it's too much and you're not going to get anything. You've got to accept what emotions are impacting you, and then you're ready to resolve them. So a lot of them you can do by yourself, actually. So for some that are more, emotions are on 3 levels. Conscious, that's the one that you're aware of. The anger, the anxiety. Unconscious, that's the one you don't want to look at. The shame, the guilt, the resentment that you don't like feeling, but that is running in the background. Unconscious. And then there is subconscious. Oops, can you hear me?
Yeah.
And then there is subconscious. Subconscious are emotions that do not have a name. They're just tensions. Tension in your bodies. And these subconscious fears, the subconscious and the unconscious, it's easier to address with a practitioner because it is important to let go of control, and it's difficult sometimes to let go of control when you are on your own. Now, for the big emotion, the conscious emotion, you can do on your own, and I'm going to tell you how to do it.
Okay.
What the important is to do EmRes when you start feeling the emotion. You don't want to let the emotion linger because an emotion doesn't linger. It's just an accumulation of things. Remember, an emotion only lasts 90 seconds maximum in your brain.
Okay.
So as soon as you realize that you're feeling an emotion, first of all, do not judge it, right? Don't judge yourself because you feel guilt. Don't judge yourself because you feel angry. Don't judge it. No. You realize that you feel an emotion, you say, okay, I feel it. Doesn't matter what it is. The next step, as soon as you realize you have it, you're going to close your eyes.
Okay.
It's important to close your eyes because closing your eyes is going to show you if your brain feels safe.
Ah.
I don't know if you know that, but the first sign of fear in any mammals, do you know what it is?
The first sign of fear?
Yes, any mammals.
The flight and fight syndrome comes up, the increase in your cortisol, increase in your heart rate, increase in your breathing. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, absolutely. But from outside, the first sign of fear in a dog, in a horse, in a cow is that they stop blinking.
Oh, okay.
Same thing for humans.
Yes.
So if you feel the emotion and you try to close your eyes, but all you want to do is looking, no, it's not going to work. It means that your body doesn't feel safe. Okay. It's important that you feel the emotion and you be able to close your eyes and feeling okay with it.
Okay. Wow.
The next step is, once you're able to close your eyes and be okay as the emotion is still in you, the next step is you're going to have to pay attention to 2 physical sensations in your body. Not one, because if you only pay attention to one sensation, you're going to try to control it. If you pay attention to only one sensation, your mind still has space to think. And if you think, then you don't feel. So it's important to feel 2 sensations at once. Physical sensations. I'm talking about the chest being tight, the throat being tight as well, or a ball in the throat, nausea. I'm thinking about pragmatic physical sensations.
Yes.
So you feel an emotion, you close your eyes and you feel comfortable with it. You pay attention to two sensations at once. You keep your attention on the body, on the sensations, and you do nothing. You keep on feeling as the sensations change in your body. The sensations are gonna start to change, to evolve. Maybe it's gonna tense even more. Maybe it's gonna start burning. Maybe you're gonna feel like you're gonna be able to breathe anymore. Those sensations are gonna be a little uncomfortable, but they're not new. You've been feeling them for years. That's important is to keep on feeling them without trying to ease them. That means don't take a breath, don't stretch, don't tell yourself that it's gonna be okay. Don't try to find an excuse. All this is a matter of control. And if you control, the pattern is going to keep on going. You've got to feel and not interacting with those sensations. The sensations are going to change for between 2 seconds and 90 seconds. All you do is feel them. And at the end of the evolution, poof, you're going to feel calm.
Wow. My mom died when I was young, and around the holidays, just not every year, I start getting a sadness from Thanksgiving to Christmas. And it's because of the loss of my mom. And it's not that I feel depressed. I just feel something's missing in my life. And I do. I unconsciously or subconsciously start to feel missing her and that type of thing. And then next week will be the 14th anniversary of my son's death. My oldest son, completed suicide. He had a terrible pain condition. And I've been working on that today because when I feel grief, I allow myself to feel it. So I'm doing the right thing.
Yes, 100%.
Okay.
Now, can I jump in for a second?
Yes, please.
My mom committed suicide a few years ago as well. And so there's a grief. Grief is something that has to be felt. Now, so for example, missing of your mom, that will never go away because we're human. Missing of your son will never go away because now this is normal and healthy.
Yes.
What is not healthy is, for example, the feeling of sadness. You can miss your mom without feeling the weight and the sadness.
Yes.
And there's a lot of emotion, I call them parasites emotion, that comes and gets stuck to grief, right? The resentment, the guilt, the shame, the victimization, could have done better, could have done, etc., etc.
Yes.
All those emotions, that's not grief. They actually prevent us from grieving.
A parasite emotion. I love that term.
So our goal when we lose someone or when we care for someone is to be able to look at the parasite's emotion. The emotion that are not congruent with the reality of things. So the missing, I did a lot of work on my mom passing. The missing never go away, but there's no weight. You miss because you used to love this person. You love your mom, you still do, but there's no physical outlet for it.
Exactly.
So when you feel the weight this year, when you start feeling the weight, don't take it for granted, okay? Just start feeling the weight, stop, close your eyes, and where is this weight? What makes me say that I'm feeling sad? Physically, what makes me say? And you might feel, I don't know, weight on the chest, a pit in the stomach, and you're going to put your attention just on the physicality, just on the flesh.
Okay.
Just on the flesh, just the physical body. Often people say, oh, but I feel my emotion, but they stay on the surface. They let themselves being overwhelmed by the emotion. This is not feeling an emotion. It is being overwhelmed by the emotion. You've got to, it's a bit like this emotion, and we say we feel is like a wave, and we surf the wave. No, you got to go in the current. You got to go deep in the flesh, right? In the current, where the wave is formed. It's in your body. It's in your sensations. Feel the sensations as they evolve until you feel calmer. And then open your eyes and notice how you feel from that day on.
Wow. That's impressive. So you feel allow yourself to just totally feel it.
In your flesh.
In the flesh, yes. Yeah, feel the emotions. Because I know what I have is I have a sickness in my stomach, a knot in my stomach during those times. And I'm going to try that. I'm going to work on that.
And for, 40 years, you probably try to distract yourself or lean into that. But no, inside, in the flesh. Where do I feel it in my body? There. Keep your attention engaged and intense to your flesh. And you feel as things are changing in the body. It's just sensations. And after a while, choke, is going to be gone.
I've read your stuff, and you always say emotional healing should be timely, affordable, and sustainable. And Lord have mercy, I'm in a total agreement, because we have a lot of pain out here, a lot of caregivers not doing well, and they're not handling their situation as well. As it's not that they're not able to, it's the lack of support, the judgment, the pressure put on them. That's why I'm real excited about your program, because these principles are so important, especially for caregivers. I have a question. How can parents or family caregivers use this approach to help children or their loved ones navigate their own big emotions?
Yep. So for parents, we have a program called EmRes for educators and parents, which first of all, we teach the person to really do this, what I explained, to do it on themselves, by themselves.
Yeah.
Make sure that they know how to do it, because they need to take care of themselves first. You cannot take care of a child or family member if you're not feeling good yourself. If you're feeling tense and you try to care for somebody, it becomes control. Here we taught, I'm in California, and we taught over 200 teachers to do this work with kids. But we noticed that we stopped after a while, because we noticed that the only time the teacher was applying to the children, was when the child behavior was disturbing the teacher.
Oh.
And that's nothing to do for the educator. They are very busy. There's 25 children in the classroom.
Yes.
They're hyper busy. It is not about them, but it's a fact that they're so busy that they only try to apply EmRes when it's too late. Gotcha. When they see the tantrum, when the kid is screaming, but it's too late. Because when the kid is screaming, is already an accumulation of emotions for the child. Mm-hmm. So my thing is, you've got to take care of yourself first. So you got to resolve as many emotions as you can. And then we'll teach you some methodology, very simple, on how you can do that with elders as well, with dementia. It would be the same process that with little kids, actually. So we can teach you, and it's very quick. It's 2 times on one-on-one, 2 times 2 hours, plus follow-ups. And we can do that as group as well, which is a bit longer, because as it's a group, people are going to practice with themselves, but it's done within a day, and follow-ups to make sure the material is integrated. So the same way that I explain what EmRes does and why it works, we take all our courses and we make them we take them to the bone, so to speak. There's no fluff. There's just pragmatic neuroscientific information and how to apply it. There's a lot of practices. And then there's always follow-up. There's so much we can teach you. You got to try it. Yes. Once you try it with your elders, with your children, with your community, then come back, tell us your experience, and we are going to make sure that you're comfortable with it. And so your question, go back in life, and then come back again until you master it and you feel comfortable with it.
Now, for caregivers who are already exhausted, what's the best way to start exploring EmRes without feeling like it's one more thing to do?
Yep. So I would say 3 things. Number 1, if the caregiver knows that there is an emotion that is very heavy on them and that really toxifies their life, go see a practitioner. Let yourself being helped. This is not, I have nothing against talk therapy, don't get me wrong, but this is not talk therapy. We aim to resolve an emotion in one session. Yes, it's very pragmatic. So if it's too much, allow yourself to do one session with a practitioner, a certified practitioner. Number 2, sit in a class. It's an hour, and learn how to do the process on yourself, by yourself. 1 hour of your time. And most of the time, we are non-profit. So we do that. We'll give the classes for free, or it's a couple of bucks or $8, I think most people charge. Certified practitioner give of the time to teach this work on themselves, by themselves. And actually, that's it too. I think it's good enough.
To me, that's priceless, because the majority of caregivers don't want to take time for themselves. They don't want to spend money on anything that they don't have to, as far as their mental health or physical health and well-being too. So what I like is this is affordable, it's sustainable, and it's timely, because they absolutely need this help. And it's something they can do in the moment, in the heat of the moment, that can help them.
That's right. And we can even teach them to do it from a memory. That means during the day, they deal with emotions. They don't have the time to do it in the moment because they have to be in action. They have to be at service, so to speak. later on, if they have a window of like breath and they're willing to go and look, sometimes it's difficult because you went through so much during the day that you don't want to sit even for 5 minutes and think about something that hurt you. But
Yes.
if you're willing to do it, so to speak, of the energy to do it, we can teach you how to re-trigger your brain exactly how we do it with a practitioner. So you can resolve something afterward as well.
I love it. Just to decrease their stress, their anxiety will give them a chance to have better health mentally, physically, and emotionally. I don't know how anybody can argue about that. Oh, Cedric, I'm just loving this approach. Can you tell me, looking ahead, what role do you see EmRes playing in a broader landscape of healthcare and caregiver support?
Well, right now we are doing a study with UCLA. We need more clinical study, right? At this point, we're trying to gather more clinical study, more clinical data so that people start knowing about us, so that people like you or your audience know about us and say, oh, wow, we exist. Let's spend 1 hour and let's see what it does to us. So the idea is to become, I don't know the word, so to speak, but more popular, right? So we can reach more. So people can come to the nonprofit, take our classes, and realize that you don't have to carry the weight of, I don't know, trauma, pain, guilt, shame on your shoulder. You're not meant for that. That kills you, right? There's this body from Gabor Mate, this book from Gabor Mate called When the Body Says No, which shows exactly what you said at the beginning of this conversation, which is the caregiver very often passed away before the person they're caring for.
Yes.
And it's because you give yourself, you give your life. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, and it isn't sustainable. And I literally lose 2 to 3 caregivers a year to serious illness or death, which always makes me feel sad because I tell my caregivers that you have to take care of yourself, because if you don't, you are not going to be there, and everything you put in place is all going to fall apart. And it's real. Tell my listeners how to find you.
So the easiest way is through our website, and they can go to emres.com.
Okay.
Or if it's easier to remember, emotionalhealthinstitute.org. It's going to the same place.
Okay.
And there you will have a list of our classes. If I also want to say, we have some wonderful volunteers among our practitioners. So if some of the caregivers do not have money for a session, we will always find some volunteers to do sessions with people when they need. Contact us, we'll be there.
Lovely
We have a wonderful community. It is across ages. We have practitioners in their 70s, some in our 20s. It's a wonderful community. I'm blessed.
We're blessed to have you here to share your information with us today, because it's desperately needed. To my family caregivers out there, you are the most important part of the caregiving equation. Without you, it all falls apart. So please learn to be gentle with yourself, practice self-care every day, because you are worth it.